Hi, I'm Katie Farrell. I'm an author, a registered nurse, and a mom and wife to some of the pickiest eaters on the planet. People say that eating healthy is bland and boring, but I'm here to show you a better way with wholesome, simple recipes. All of my dishes are stamped with my family's seal of approval. Think you can't eat those brownies and pasta? Think again. I'm here to share my secrets with all of you. Here's what we're cooking today on Dashing Dish. Can you make your favorite takeout healthy? My friends are joining me in the kitchen for grain-free chicken nuggets and a special sauce, gluten-free pizza with all the toppings, and sparkling slushies to drink. Healthy takeout with friends is going to make this get-together a blast. When we think of takeout, we often think it's off limits to eat anything out to eat because it's absolutely not healthy. But that's what I love about cooking at home, because you can make just about any of your takeout favorites at home in a much healthier way. One of mine and Sean's favorite ways to continue to date each other after 10 years of marriage is going out to dinner and seeing a movie. It's been a long-standing tradition that remains the same even after all these years. The funny thing is, when people find out that I cook for a living, they often ask me what recommendations I have for restaurants. Somehow they imagine that Sean and I are foodies, when really that couldn't be further from the truth. Sean and I are creatures of habit, especially when it comes to food. When we do find something that we both enjoy, we stick to it and we rarely venture away. In fact, we've been going to the same few restaurants for the last 10 years, and when we do decide to be brave and try new things, we almost always seem to regret it. People often ask why we don't expand our horizons more, but the funny thing is, we never seem to feel like we're missing out. If anything, we love the fact that we're both content to stick with our favorites. Not to mention, it does make choosing where to spend date night a whole lot easier. So today I'm going to be making something that you might think you could never eat again and still live a healthy lifestyle, and that's Chick-fil-A, or what I like to call my version of Chick-fil-A, healthy chicken nuggets and the special sauce. So these are so wildly popular that when I went to the mall and we just got a Chick-fil-A put into the food court, I noticed that there was a revolving line around the entire mall. And I thought, what is going on here? Did a new store open? And it was Chick-fil-A. And so I thought eventually that would die down. It never did. So there's always such a long line. I thought, I have to find a way to make these healthier at home. So I'm pretty sure I nailed it pretty close, especially the sauce. And you might be surprised to find out that I start the sauce with 1/2 cup plain Greek yogurt. So I'm gonna add everything for the sauce into a little bowl, and we're gonna start with that before we get our dirty chicken hands. And we have 1/2 cup of Greek yogurt in there, and then we have 1 tablespoon of mustard. Now you could do a little bit more or a little bit less, and that's the really fun part about cooking, is you can alter it to your taste. We have 2 tablespoons of honey, and you might be thinking, honey in a sauce? But if you think about chicken nuggets, so many people dip their nuggets in honey. So I promise you it's absolutely delicious in this sauce. And same thing with the mustard, and then we have 1 tablespoon of ketchup. All of these things go great with chicken nuggets. And then the Greek yogurt just adds a little bit of creaminess, and usually, typically, I believe in their recipe they use probably mayonnaise or soybean oil, something that's totally unhealthy. So the Greek yogurt is a really good replacement. Then we have 2 tablespoons of sweetener, and it's just monk fruit sweetener that I used in this recipe, but you could use any kind of sweetener you like. And then we're just gonna stir this together. And you might be surprised to see how simple this sauce is, because they make it seem like it's something just absolutely special and secret. But I mean, it really is just Greek yogurt, ketchup, mustard, and honey, and a little sweetener. And you can see how good that already looks. So this will pop in the fridge while we're baking our chicken nuggets, and that will get chilled just perfectly. And so simple. Look how good that is. And I like to use this sauce for a lot of different things. So even chicken breast, if you're cooking up a chicken breast and just dip it in the sauce, it's so good. So then I'm gonna start the chicken nuggets, and you might be surprised to see how simple this is. It really is nothing fancy. It's just starting with 2 cups of almond flour. And you could do either almond flour or you could do oat flour, whatever you have on hand. I like to make these grain-free, and the almond flour gives it a little bit of nuttiness, and it's a really good coating for these nuggets. So I'm gonna add that to 1 bowl, and this first bowl is gonna be all of my coating ingredients. So all the dry ingredients will go into here. Then I have 1 teaspoon of salt, then 1/2 teaspoon of paprika. And the paprika is what gives the nuggets a little bit of a smoky flavor. And then 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. And then we're just gonna stir this together, and that's as simple as it is for the coating. So simple. So I'm just stirring this together with 1 fork. What I've learned when it comes to coating any kind of nuggets or really doing any kind of breading is you wanna have 1 bowl with the dry and 1 fork in that, and then in the other bowl do the wet with a separate fork. Otherwise, you'll be breading your fork every time you go back and forth, which you could do. Then, this is something that is a little bit secret about these nuggets, is pickle juice. So it's a 1/4 cup of pickle juice. And all I did is I just took some dill pickles that were in my fridge, and I poured some liquid for the pickles into the jar. So it's that simple. If you have pickles in your fridge, you can make Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets. And then we have 3/4 cup of almond milk, and you can use any kind of milk that you like. And then we have 1 egg. And that just helps everything stick to the coating. So now I have 1 pound of chicken into the liquid coating. So just make sure that it's kind of evenly in there, everything is wet. I always tell Maddie, put it into the swimming pool, and you wanna make sure everything's in the swimming pool evenly so that it can get properly breaded evenly. Then we're gonna start. Now you could do this with tongs if you don't want your hands to get coated as well, but I like to use my hands a lot of times. They're good kitchen gadgets. So I put it into the coating here. And as far as eating out goes, there are so many benefits to cooking at home rather than eating out, one of which is it saves you a lot of money. And you might be thinking even fast food is really reasonable and not expensive, and that is true. However, usually you get what you pay for with food, so you don't really know what's in your food. So the nice thing about making food at home is it's inexpensive compared to eating out, but then you also know what's in your food. So you can see how simple these nuggets are, and then you just want to put a few in at a time in the coating so that they can get evenly coated. And then if you wanted to add a little bit of extra kick or spice, so Sean likes Cajun chicken nuggets, you could do that into the coating, or you could just sprinkle it on top of just some of the nuggets if you don't want all of them to have that heat. And you can see how I have the breading fingers. That is a sure sign that you're having fun in the kitchen. So I'm just gonna finish breading this chicken up. And usually I just do it in 1 or 2, maybe 3 batches, depending on how much chicken I have to coat. There are a lot of great ways that you can save calories though if you do eat out. It's not always reasonable or possible to eat at home for every single meal. And so what I tell people when it comes to eating out, some tips that I always give is, first of all, check the menu if you can online before you go somewhere. So come prepared. You know, get to know what types of food are at restaurants before you even go. And that way, if you can say, okay, I know this place has a really good salad, or this place has really good grilled veggies, then you can kind of be prepared of what you know that you like at restaurants, and you won't even be tempted with all the other stuff on the menu because you'll know what's there ahead of time. Another tip is be picky. You know, sometimes I think we get embarrassed or shy to ask special requests, but I've learned that especially these days there's so many special requests with allergies and gluten-free and all of the special needs that people ask for now that I don't feel bad about it. I just say, hey, could I have, you know, my sauce on the side, my dressing on the side. A lot of times if I get veggies, I say, could I have this with no butter on it? And just those little simple choices all add up over time. And so I always tell people, just ask for special requests. And when it comes to sauces and things like that, if you add it yourself, then you can control how much actually goes on. So these look great. These are gonna go into the oven, 400 degrees for about 18 to 20 minutes until they're nice and golden brown. Usually I just cut into the thickest chicken nugget and I make sure it's no longer pink in the center, and that's how I know that they're done. But you also could use a meat thermometer. 165 degrees is the temperature you're looking for with chicken. And then we'll serve them with our sauce. This will be the perfect appetizer because when we come back, my friends are gonna join me for a pizza party. And we're also gonna have healthy homemade slushies. How good does that sound? Stay tuned. Here are a few tips to keep in mind when you eat out that will help you maintain a healthy lifestyle. First, come prepared. A lot of restaurants offer nutrition information online. Try to look for something around 500 calories or less, or plan to split an entree with someone. Second, fill up on veggies. When looking at the menu, try to steer clear of dishes with anything white, which is ultimately just empty calories. Whether it be white bread, pasta, rice, or buns, try to choose options that fill the plate with veggies and lean sources of protein. And third, beware of salad dressings and sauces. If you order a salad or a dish with sauces, always ask for them on the side so you can control the portions. Today I'm putting a healthy spin on takeout. And when I asked my friends, what is your favorite takeout food? The overwhelming response was pizza. So today I'm gonna make a 5-ingredient, clean eating pizza crust. And then I'm gonna have my friends over and we're gonna top it with all kinds of toppings. And this is something really fun to make with your friends. And the great thing about doing pizzas at home with friends is you can really get to know each other by seeing what kind of toppings you put on. And it's a good icebreaker and a good way to start the party. So I'm gonna start by making my crust. I have 3/4 cups of almond flour, 3/4 cups of oat flour, and you could buy both of these at any grocery store, or you could also make your own oat flour at home. It's really easy. You just grind up some oats in a blender or food processor to make a flour. You can't do that with almond flour though, because you will end up pretty sure with almond butter. So you do have to buy your own almond flour. 1/2 cup of mozzarella or any kind of shredded cheese will work for this recipe. 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese, and that adds a little bit of saltiness, but it also helps the crust bind together. And then just 2 egg whites. I'm gonna give this a quick stir. I always stir my dry ingredients before adding any kind of wet, just to make sure it's well combined. So we have our 2 egg whites in there. So very, very simple. You could see just 5 ingredients in this crust. And it's a fail-proof crust. It works every time. And the great thing is you know what's in it. There's literally 5 ingredients and they're all clean eating. Also whole grain, high protein, and it's absolutely delicious. So I'm gonna get this crust kind of working, and it sounds like my friends are here, so I'm gonna have Dana come and help me roll out this dough. Oh, hey! I'm so glad you're here.
Good to see you.
I'm gonna have you finish up this dough. So what I always do when it comes to doughs is kind of get your hands in there. Get it kind of working together, and then I'm gonna have you make a few smaller crusts, and then kind of roll them out. So what I always do when it comes to dough, it's just an easy cleanup, and it's the easiest thing because you don't get your rolling pin all dirty, is I just put it between 2 pieces of parchment paper and roll it out. So you can make them whatever shape you want, and then we'll just put them on parchment paper on the baking pan.
Perfect.
So let me know if you have any questions about that.
Sounds
I
good.
also have some extra oat flour. With doughs, sometimes they get sticky. Usually this one doesn't, but if it does, then you can just sprinkle a little bit of dough on and it just helps it
kind of come off better.
So put the dough under here and then roll it on top of the
Yep.
pot. Okay.
And you got my grandma's rolling pin,
sounds good.
very important role there.
Awesome.
Okay, so now I'm gonna make some healthy homemade slushies.
Ooh.
Or Slurpees, whatever you want to call them.
Kid friendly.
And kid friendly.
All right.
And I know you like Slurpees and you like pizza. So you'll love this recipe.
Okay.
And I guarantee you'll make it at home because it only has 2 ingredients. 2 optional ingredients if you wanted to go the extra mile, but really it's just 2 cups of frozen strawberries that you put into a blender. I also have a few raspberries in here because that's what I had in my freezer, so any kind of berry will work for this. I like red berries because I like red slushies, so it's delicious. And then you have 1 cup of any kind of sparkling carbonated drink. Just make sure there's no sugar added, it's just sparkling water. So it could be a flavored kind. I have lime here, lime sparkling water, but you could do lemon, any kind of flavor will work. So I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. Usually I do about 1 cup. I have a little more than 2 berries here, it looks like. I just took what was out of my freezer. And so if you have a little bit more, you can always add more liquid until it blends up nicely. The sparkling water is really what gives it that slushy or slurpy flavor that you're looking for. And you could, as an optional ingredient, add some lemon juice or just a little bit of stevia or sweetener if your berries aren't really sweet. But with kids especially, I just do the 2 ingredients and they'll never know that this isn't a slushie.
Perfect. So. Let's try it.
All right, we'll just give it a quick blend. And like I said, sometimes you have to give it a little help, give it a little more liquid in there. But this is so easy. I use this recipe almost all summer long. It's like my dessert.
Okay.
I have it all the time and I go outside.
So easy.
For like 2 minutes because that's all I have time to relax when Maddie's napping or in the evening.
Oh, I know that.
And this is like a little treat to have in the summertime. But I thought it would be really good to wash down our pizzas today too. How are the pizzas coming?
Good.
Good.
Smushed it together a
They're
little bit.
looking good. You could do 2 big ones there.
Okay.
And
That's
then
probably what I'll just do.
that'll probably
good.
cook up real well. Okay, that looks great. So I'm gonna put this into some glasses for us. And look at how good this looks.
Delicious.
And just 2 ingredients. So I think we should put those in the oven.
Okay.
Start baking them about 425 degrees for like 8 to 10 minutes. You just wanna get the crust so that they're baked a little bit before we add the toppings.
Sounds good.
And if you give it a good head start in the baking process, then they're nice and crispy.
Okay.
And since they're a little bit thinner, I like my crust a little bit thin and crispy, don't you?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and we can enjoy these slushies when we top our pizzas.
Sounds good. Thanks.
All right. It seems these days that everyone is living out loud. Thanks to smartphones, social media, it only takes moments to look into each other's lives. Oftentimes, the images shared are only the best, from celebrations to accomplishments, and of course, only the perfect hair days. The problem with looking at everyone's highlight reel, however, is that it can lessen the value that we place on our daily routine. But it's important to remember that everyday decisions are incredibly powerful. In fact, our lives are made up of a sum total of our consistent daily choices. This is true with everything, especially our health. One decision to make a nutritious meal at home over grabbing fast food will make a difference in caring for our bodies. Living the life that God has called us to is comparable to a marathon, which means it requires faithfulness, consistency, and endurance along the journey. Our lives are filled with everyday choices, and no matter how big or small, when we are faithful in the little, God will cause it to add up to much. Okay, so we just got the crust out of the oven. They look really good. Basically, you just want to, it's kind of like pie dough. You just want to see that it's kind of browning up very lightly, and then add our toppings and our sauce and our cheese and all the good stuff.
Awesome.
So let's get started. You can do the sauce first since you're my guest.
Okay, thanks.
And Dana, I was trying to think, how long have we been friends?
You were in my wedding, so that was almost 10 years ago.
That's
12 years?
crazy.
I know.
And
how's that possible?
we've been through a lot together. We've had our babies. You prayed for me when I was trying to get pregnant with Maddie. You were a big part of that.
Oh, God's so faithful.
So faithful. And now you have 2 little ones yourself.
Yes, who love dashing dish food.
I know, you're always sending me pictures that make my day.
They love
them.
cooking with me.
It's so amazing. You're such a good mom. You're never afraid to get dirty in the kitchen. Sometimes I'm like holding my breath, and you let things get crazy, but that's what makes you such a good mom. And you guys do like a lot of pizza parties and stuff like that.
All the time.
So this will be a good one for you to try because it's so easy. You can get the cheese.
Cheese, awesome. I like cheese.
And we're so much alike in so many ways. People always call us sisters.
Yes.
I have 2 sisters, but
I'm
you're
the
like
fourth.
my third.
Third.
You're the third sister of mine, and that's really not only because we're blonde, but and short.
Yes.
But we are both sisters in Christ. We both love the Lord. We get to do mom life together, and that's a huge thing. Just being able to have friends that are in the same season or walk of life, or even in different seasons, and just build each other up. And the Lord is so important, and in marriage too.
Absolutely.
And you guys have a marriage ministry, and so I know that just family and ministry and marriage is so important to you guys. And so it's been such a blessing to
and look, we're
be
even
God connection friends.
I mean, we even have the same pizza toppings.
It's
I gotta get some different ones.
It's
We're just
true.
too similar.
I don't like pineapple a whole lot, so I'll leave those to you. I usually like broccoli, roasted broccoli. I don't know why I didn't put that out, but that's a big one. Do you like mushrooms?
I'm not a fan, but I'll take some more pineapple.
I like mushrooms, so you can leave those for me. Right. I think we should go grab Em and Stacy so they can make their pizza as well. Good. What do you think? And then we can have our grain-free Chick-fil-A nuggets.
Oh, can't wait. Okay.
And our Slurpees, and we can talk all things mom life, wife life, and talk about the Lord, my favorite things. All right, well, this was fun cooking with you.
Thanks, girl. Can't wait to eat them.
We all make decisions every day. Some of them are minor, others are major. But even the little choices can add up and have a powerful impact. How can you include God on some of the day-to-day decisions in your life?
I love having you guys over.
It's so fun. You know what I love? It's like we're all moms, we're all busy, we all work, and sometimes you just need a girls' night, you know, just to get refreshed and recharged. Away from the husbands, we love them. Away from the children, we love them.
Except for this one.
Yes.
He still needs his mama.
He's still making an appearance on girls' night. Sorry, buddy.
I'll appreciate it someday.
That's right.
But my favorite thing has been doing Bible studies with you guys. And we always usually do them in the winter or the fall when it's cold and no one wants to,
go out
do anything except for be hibernating. And so it's always really nice to get together and make it a point to get together when it gets cold out and do Bible studies together. So
I think it's great, really, like Em said, was just getting together, but also sharing struggles. I feel like this day and age, like a lot of people don't talk about that, and with you guys, I just feel like it's family, and I think that community, building that, it's a safe place for all of us to come together and just encourage one another in the Lord, and that's been huge for me the past 10 years knowing you girls. Just really having that foundation in friendship, but also centered in the Lord, I think has been one of my things that has gotten me through motherhood. In this early season with littles, I could not have done it without you guys.
It's true.
And I love that through your recipes, we don't have to go out to a busy restaurant where you can't hear talking over people. We can make healthy alternatives that we don't have to pay for, you know. And it's a cheaper option, it's a more friendly environment.
it makes you feel better.
Absolutely.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to get these pizzas in the oven and eat those melted, delicious cheese.
I guess we're friends for a reason.
So let's bake them off and then we can enjoy our Slurpees.